change clothes, take a shower, whatever.
And how often are you touring?
Pretty much all the time.
So you're never off
Willie
the
Nelson, at 92, is no mere country legend. He's a poet of resilience, his life carved from hardship's stone. On the road again, maps a soul weathered by betrayal, rejection, and loss. Yet every scar became a song, every silence an anthem. For 7 decades, he's turned pain into music that binds the world. Don't miss his final chapter's truths. If his voice ever moved you, leave a like to honor a man still singing, still giving, in the sun-scorched plains of Abbott, Texas, where dreams withered under the relentless 1930s heat. Willie Hugh Nelson was born on April 29, 1933. But before he could know the warmth of a family's embrace, he knew the chill of absence. His mother, Myrtle, vanished like a desert mirage when Willie was barely 6 months old, leaving no note, no farewell, just a void. His father, Ira, a mechanic broken by his own struggles, remarried and drifted away, leaving Willie and his sister Bobby in the care of their grandparents, William and Nancy Nelson. These kind-hearted souls, scraping by on a blacksmith's wages and a music teacher's lessons, did their best to mend the cracks in 2 children no one else chose to love. It wasn't neglect, it was survival, paid for in calloused hands and sleepless nights. William, Willie's grandfather, was a towering figure despite his modest means. A blacksmith by trade, he hammered iron with the same steady chords that would become his lifeline. But in 1939, pneumonia stole William away, leaving a 6-year-old Willie to grapple with a loss that felt like the world collapsing. In his 2015 memoir, It's a Long Story, Willie wrote, "Losing Granddaddy was like losing the ground beneath me. Mama and Daddy were out there, alive, but they didn't want us. That hurt worse than any grave." The cruelty of abandonment, a child knowing his parents existed, yet chose to be elsewhere, cut deeper than grief. It was a wound that never healed, only quieted by the strings of his guitar. By 7, in 1940, Willie wasn't playing with toys like other boys. He was strumming in the dim light of his grandparents' modest home, learning chords not for fun, but to silence the storm in his chest. At 9, he stepped onto the stages of local bars, playing with the Bohemian Polka Band, a ragtag group of Czech immigrants whose polkas and waltzes filled the air in Abbott's dance halls. His small frame barely reached the microphone, but his voice, already carrying a hint of the gravel that would define it, rang out with a longing beyond his years. In church, he sang gospel hymns like Amazing Grace, not for salvation, but for connection. A plea for someone to hear the boy behind the notes. Every performance was less a show and more a cry to be seen, a defiance against the silence of a world that kept turning away. The Texas sun didn't just shine, it scorched, its heat a daily punishment for those who toiled beneath it. As a teenager, Willie bent over cotton fields in Hill County, fingers raw and bleeding, back aching under the weight of survival. By 14, around 1947, he'd cycled through more jobs than most adults. Tree trimmer, cutting branches under the blazing sun, dishwasher, scrubbing plates in greasy diners, nightclub bouncer, facing down drunks twice his size, and door-to-door encyclopedia salesman, peddling knowledge to families too poor to afford hope. "I was selling dreams to folks who couldn't buy bread," he later reflected in a 2018 interview with Rolling Stone, his voice heavy with the memory of those lean years. By night, he played in dive bars like the Night Owl in West Texas, spinning country records as a DJ by day at stations like KHBR in Hillsboro, sleeping in his battered car or on friends' floors when exhaustion won. Nashville, Green Tea Tea and Tan Tea Finty Teen. The glittering heart of country music was a dream that kept him going, but it rejected him at every turn. In 1956, at 23, he hitchhiked to Music City with a guitar and a handful of demos, only to face closed doors and cold shoulders. Labels like RCA and Decca saw no star in the lanky Texan with braided hair and a voice they called too rough. They wanted polish. "I brought dirt," he later quipped in a 2020 Texas Monthly interview. The rejections piled up, each one a bruise on his already scarred spirit. In his mid-20s, the darkness deepened. Living in a dilapidated trailer on the edge of a Nashville cemetery, Willie was drowning in failure, debt, and whiskey. One night in 1961, overwhelmed by rejection and despair, he walked into the middle of Charlotte Avenue, a usually busy street, and lay down, waiting for an end. Cars swerved around him, indifferent, their headlights cutting through the night. "I didn't know if I was relieved or disappointed when I got up," he wrote in his memoir. "I just walked back to the bar and kept going." Another time, broke and desperate, he tried hitchhiking to Portland, Oregon to find his mother, Myrtle. No one stopped. He curled up in a roadside ditch, rain soaking his clothes, his guitar his only companion. A trucker named Red, spotting the soaked boy, offered a ride and $10 for a bus ticket. A small act of kindness that became a lifeline. These weren't tales of glory. They were the roots of a man who learned to build from ruins. By the late 1950s, Willie was still a shadow in the music world, scraping by as a DJ at KBOP in Pleasanton, Texas, and washing dishes in Fort Worth honky-tonks. He wrote songs in stolen moments, scribbling lyrics on napkins in the dead of night, each one a piece of his soul. In 1959, living in a cramped Houston apartment with his first wife, Martha, and a baby on the way, he penned Family Bible, a gospel ballad born from memories of his grandmother Nancy, singing Rock of Ages at their kitchen table. Desperate for groceries, he sold the song's rights to Claude Gray for $100. It soared to the top of country radio in 1960, its raw purity resonating across the South. But Willie's name was nowhere on the label. The applause rang out, but not for him. The pattern became a quiet heartbreak. In 1961, he wrote Crazy, a haunting melody of love and loss, drawn from nights staring at a ceiling that offered no answers. Patsy Cline's voice carried it to eternity, making it one of the most played jukebox songs ever. But Willie was just a name in the shadows. Funny how time slips away, found fame through Billy Walker. And a suit, he told NPR in 2015. "I brought a braid and a story." For that, he was invisible, serving drinks in bars while his lyrics filled the air. By 1970, Nashville had written Willie off. His ranch in Ridgetop, Tennessee, a sanctuary he'd poured his heart into, burned to the ground in December 1969. The flames swallowing memories and dreams. His marriage to Shirley Colley, his second wife, crumbled in 1971 after a hospital bill revealed a secret daughter, Paula, born to his girlfriend Connie Kupke. RCA, his last tie to the industry, dropped him, deeming his music unmarketable. At 39, Willie packed up the ashes of his life and returned to Texas, not with a plan, but with a need to be free. Austin in the early 1970s was a rebellion in itself, a city where long-haired hippies drank alongside weathered cowboys in venues like the Armadillo World Headquarters and Soap Creek Saloon. It didn't care about Nashville's rules or rhinestone suits. It cared about truth. In 1973, Willie released Shotgun Willie on Atlantic Records, a ragged, unpolished album that didn't beg for radio play. Recorded in New York's Atlantic Studios with producer Jerry Wexler, it blended country with jazz and blues, capturing Willie's defiance. It wasn't a chart topper, but it cracked open the door. In 1974, Phases and Stages, a concept album about heartbreak, poured his divorce from Shirley into every note, its raw honesty resonating with listeners who'd felt love's sting. Then, in 1975 came Red-Headed Stranger, recorded for Columbia Records in Garland, Texas, with just Willie, his guitar Trigger, and a small band. Its sparse, almost ghostly production, a stark contrast to Nashville's gloss, told the story of a preacher on the run, haunted by love and loss. Executives called it unmarketable. Fans called it a masterpiece. It went multi-platinum, peaking at #1 on Billboard's Country Albums chart. That same year, Willie joined Waylon Jennings, Jesse Coulter, and Tom Paul Glaser to record Wanted. The Outlaws, a Defiant collection that became the first country album to go platinum, selling over 1 million copies by 1976. As Willie's star rose, his personal life paid the price. The 1971 hospital bill revealing Paula's birth wasn't just a betrayal, it was a fracture. Shirley, his wife of 12 years, couldn't forgive him, and their marriage dissolved in a haze of guilt and headlines. Willie married Connie in 1971, but the weight of his choices lingered. "There's no such thing as ex-wives, only additional ones," he later said, a quip laced with weariness. The Ridgetop fire had already taken his home. Now, his heart was burning too. In the 1980s, fame brought new storms. Willie formed the Highwaymen with Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, and Chris Christopherson. Their 1985 album Highwaymen cementing their legend as country's rebel poets. But behind the stage, financial mismanagement loomed. In 1990, the IRS hit him with a $16.7 million tax bill, the result of bad advisors and blind trust. Federal agents raided his Spicewood, Texas ranch, seizing his studio, memorabilia, and even Trigger, his beloved Martin N20 guitar, its body scarred from years of strumming. For a man who'd lost so much, this was a gut punch. But Willie didn't fold. In 1992, he recorded the IRS tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories, a raw acoustic album sold via late-night infomercials. Fans rallied, buying it not out of pity, but love for the man who'd soundtracked their lives. The deepest wounds weren't financial, they were personal. On Christmas Day, 1991, Willie received a call that shattered his world. His firstborn son, Billy, had passed away at 33 under tragic circumstances, battling personal demons. "I've never felt a pain so deep," Willie told people in 1992, his voice breaking. For years, he stopped playing Christmas shows, the holiday's joy forever shadowed. In 2020, Paul English, his drummer, bodyguard, and brother in spirit since 1955, died at 87. Paul, who once carried a pistol to settle band disputes, was Willie's anchor in chaos. His daughter Amy called him the co-patriarch of their family. In 2022, Bobby Nelson, Willie's sister and first musical partner, passed away at 91, raised together in abandonment. They'd played their first notes at their grandparents' piano. Her death severed a lifeline to his past. In September 2024, Chris Christopherson, his Highwayman brother, died at 88, leaving Willie as the last of the rebels. Each loss carved a new verse in his soul, yet he played on, turning grief into melody. Today, Willie lives on his 700-acre ranch in Spicewood, Texas, a sanctuary of rolling hills and memories, valued at over $3 million. His home, a modest log cabin, brims with memorabilia, signed guitars, Highwaymen posters, and photos of his children. His kids, Lucas and Amy, carry his musical legacy, often joining him on stage at Austin's ACL Fest or Luck Reunion. Their performances a dialogue across generations. His health, scarred by emphysema diagnosed in the early 2000s, is managed with discipline. Edibles instead of smoked marijuana, organic meals, light yoga, and walks through his fields. A 2015 stem cell treatment stabilized his lungs, though his gait is slower, his frame leaner. His net worth, estimated at $25–30 million in 2025, comes from tour revenues, royalties from 76 studio albums, Willie's Remedy CBD products, and real estate in Austin and Maui. In April 2025, he released The Last Leaf on the Tree, produced with his son Micah, a soulful meditation on aging and loss, hailed by Pitchfork as a late career triumph. In October 2024, he shared a stage with Beyoncé at Austin City Limits. Their duet, a cultural bridge between country and pop, his frail frame steady beside her. As the last highwayman, he carries the weight of Johnny, Waylon, and Chris in every note. "I don't hurt anywhere. I don't worry about dying," he told the Associated Press in 2025, not with bravado, but with peace earned through storms. Willie Nelson's life is a melody that refuses to fade, a song woven from the threads of a boy abandoned in the dust of Abbott, a dreamer rejected by Nashville's cold gates, a father broken by loss, and a friend standing alone as the last highwayman. Every chord he strums carries the ache of empty childhood rooms, the defiance of nights spent in roadside ditches, the grief of an empty chair at Christmas, and the quiet loneliness of a stage missing its rhythm. Yet, through it all, he sings, not to flee the pain, but to transform it into something the world can hold, something that lingers in the hearts of strangers across continents. His Spicewood Ranch, with its rolling hills and weathered cabin, is more than a home. It's a sanctuary where memories of Bobby's piano, Paul's steady beat, Billy's unfinished gospel, and Chris's cosmic poetry live in every breeze. His guitar, Trigger, scarred and sacred, is not just an instrument, but a witness to a life that turned ruin into redemption. At 92, Willie's voice, thinner now, still carries the weight of 7 decades. When he shared the stage with Beyoncé in October 2024 at Austin City Limits, his frail frame steady beside her global stardom, it wasn't just a performance. It was a testament to a man who bridges eras with authenticity. His 2025 album, The Last Leaf on the Tree, produced with his son Micah, isn't a farewell but a meditation on time. It's tracks like Keep Me in Your Heart, echoing the faces he's lost. If on the Road. Again has ever carried you through a midnight drive. If Always on My Mind has ever brought a tear in a moment of regret, or if Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain has ever felt like your own heart's echo, you've carried a piece of Willie's soul. His music isn't just sound, it's a conversation with the world, a gift from a man who's given everything. Share a memory of a song that held you close. Leave a like to honor the poet who turned pain into beauty. And subscribe to join this journey, to keep his story alive, to walk the road with a man who's still strumming, still giving, still singing for us all.